What happens when one of Hollywood's most respected actors walks onto a talk show set and finds himself face to face with a host who refuses to let him speak? In just 31 seconds, a simple question about his latest film turns into an explosive confrontation that ends with security being called and cameras cutting to commercial. This is the story of how Sunny Hostin managed to do the impossible, make Denzel Washington lose his cool on live television. The morning started like any other day on The View. The audience filed into the studio, excited to see Denzel Washington promoting his new film. The panel sat ready. Whoopi Goldberg in her usual spot, Joy Behar with her coffee, Sarah Haynes looking through her notes, Alyssa Farah Griffin checking her phone, and Sunny Hostin, who seemed unusually tense that morning. When Denzel walked out, the crowd erupted. He waved, smiled, that famous smile, and took his seat at the table. Whoopi started with the introductions, welcoming him warmly. The first few minutes went smoothly. They talked about his career, his family, the usual softball questions that morning shows love to ask. Then Sunny leaned forward. "So Denzel," she began, her voice dripping with something that wasn't quite friendliness. "Your new movie has been getting some criticism online. People are saying it's out of touch with modern audiences. What do you say to those who think you should maybe step aside and let younger, more relevant voices tell these stories?" The studio went quiet. You could feel the tension immediately. Even the audience members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Denzel smiled, but it was the kind of smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Well, Sunny, I think storytelling is storytelling. Age doesn't determine whether a story resonates with people. Good work speaks for itself. But does it, though?" Sunny interrupted, not even letting him finish his thought. "I mean, let's be honest. Your last 3 films barely made any noise. Some people are saying you're holding on to a career that's already peaked. Shouldn't you accept that your time has passed?" Whoopi's eyes went wide. She tried to jump in. "Sunny, I don't think that's—" "No, Whoopi, let me finish." Sunny cut her off, holding up her hand. "I'm just asking the questions that people want answered. Denzel, don't you think it's a bit selfish to keep taking roles that could go to up-and-coming actors who actually understand today's culture?" Denzel sat back in his chair, his jaw tightened. "Selfish? You think it's selfish for me to work? I think it's selfish for you to coast on your past success while pretending you're still relevant," Sunny shot back. "When was the last time you did something that actually mattered? And please don't say Training Day. That was over 20 years ago." Joy Behar tried to interject. "Sunny, come on, that's not fair. Denzel has had plenty of great roles since then. Name 3 recent ones that anyone under 30 has actually seen," Sunny challenged, now turning to Joy. "Go ahead, I'll wait." Joy opened her mouth, then closed it, clearly caught off guard by Sunny's aggression. Sarah Haynes jumped in, trying to smooth things over. "I think what we're trying to say is that we'd love to hear about your creative process on this new film. What drew you to this particular story?" "No, that's not what I'm trying to say," Sunny snapped at Sarah. "I'm trying to have a real conversation about legacy and knowing when to exit gracefully. But apparently, that's too difficult a topic for this table." Denzel's voice was calm, but there was steel underneath. "You want to talk about legacy? Let's talk about respect. Let's talk about how you invite someone to your show and then ambush them with disrespect disguised as tough questions." "Oh, here we go," Sunny said, rolling her eyes. "The famous actor can't handle a little criticism. You know what your problem is, Denzel? You're so used to everyone treating you like royalty that you forgot what it's like to be challenged." "Challenged?" Denzel repeated, his voice rising slightly. "You call this a challenge? This isn't journalism. This isn't even a conversation. This is you trying to make a name for yourself by tearing down someone else." Alyssa Farah Griffin finally spoke up. "Okay, I think we need to take a breath here. This is getting out of hand." "Stay out of this, Alyssa," Sunny said dismissively. "You always do this. Always trying to play peacemaker when things get real." "Things aren't getting real, Sunny," Whoopi said firmly. "You're being disrespectful to our guest. That's what's happening here." Sunny turned on Whoopi. "Oh, so now you're going to gang up on me because I'm the only one willing to ask the hard questions? That's rich coming from you, Whoopi. You've been coasting on Sister Act for 30 years. The audience gasped. Whoopi's face went stone cold. Denzel stood up slowly. "I think I'm done here." "Sit down," Sunny demanded. "We're not finished." "Yes, we are," Denzel said quietly. "I came here in good faith. I came here to talk about my work, to connect with your audience, to have a conversation. But you didn't want a conversation. You wanted a target. Don't play the victim, Sunny said, standing up now too. You can't handle that Hollywood doesn't revolve around you anymore. That's not my problem. That's yours. You know what I can't handle? Denzel said, his voice still controlled but filled with emotion. I can't handle disrespect. I can't handle someone who hides their own insecurities behind attacks on other people. And I definitely can't handle someone who thinks being mean is the same thing as being smart. Excuse me? Sunny's voice went up an octave. Are you calling me insecure? I'm calling you unprofessional, Denzel replied. There's a difference between asking tough questions and being cruel. You crossed that line about 5 minutes ago. Joy stood up, trying to get between them. Guys, please, we can work this out. There's nothing to work out, Sunny said. If he can't handle the heat, he can leave. You know what, Sunny? Denzel said, grabbing his microphone pack and unhooking it. You're right about one thing. I can leave, and I am. Fine, Sunny shouted. Leave. Run away like you run away from every real challenge in your career. Go back to your mansion and your yes men who tell you how great you are. Denzel stopped at the edge of the stage. He turned back to look at her. I feel sorry for you. I really do. Because one day you're going to look back at this moment and realize that you burned a bridge for no reason. You turned a simple interview into a spectacle because you needed attention. And that's the saddest thing I've seen in a long time. I don't need your pity. Sunny spat. I need you to admit that you're washed up. Sunny, stop, Whoopi said, her voice commanding now. Just stop. But Sunny wasn't done. No, I won't stop. Someone needs to say it. Denzel Washington is living in the past. His best days are behind him. And instead of accepting that with grace, he's throwing a tantrum on national television because someone finally had the guts to tell him the truth. The truth? Denzel said, shaking his head. You wouldn't know the truth if it sat across from you at this table, which, ironically, it just did. Sarah Haynes stood up. Denzel, please don't leave like this. We can restart. We can have a real conversation. I appreciate that, Sarah, Denzel said kindly. But I don't think that's possible right now. Not with her sitting there. Then maybe you should ask yourself why you're so threatened by me, Sunny said, crossing her arms. Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm not falling all over myself to worship you like everyone else does? This has nothing to do with you being a woman, Denzel said, his patience clearly wearing thin. This has everything to do with you being rude. And if you can't see the difference, then there's no point in continuing this conversation. Alyssa tried one more time. Can we please just take a commercial break? Cool off for a minute? No, Sunny said flatly. I want him to answer the question. Are you still relevant, Denzel? Yes or no? Am I relevant? Denzel repeated, letting out a short laugh. I'm not going to defend my career to you. My work speaks for itself. Always has, always will. But I'll tell you what's not relevant. This interview, this manufactured drama, this desperate attempt to create a viral moment at someone else's expense. Manufactured? Sunny's voice was incredulous. You're the one making a scene. You're the one who can't handle a simple question. A simple question, Joy interjected. Sunny, you told the man his career is over and called him selfish. That's not a question. That's an attack. Thank you, Joy, Whoopi added. Sunny, you're out of line. Way out of line. Sunny turned on. Both of them. Oh, so now you're both against me? Great. Just great. I try to bring some honesty to this table, and this is what I get. Honesty isn't the same as cruelty, Sarah said softly. You can challenge someone without disrespecting them. I didn't disrespect anyone, Sunny insisted. I asked legitimate questions about his career trajectory. If he can't handle that, that's on him. Denzel had been walking toward the exit, but he stopped. He turned around one more time. You really believe that, don't you? You really think what you did here was journalism? I know it was, Sunny said defiantly. Then you have a lot to learn, Denzel said. Real journalism requires empathy. It requires listening. It requires understanding that there's a human being sitting across from you, not just a target for your agenda. You didn't want to interview me today. You wanted to take me down. And you know what the sad part is? It says a lot more about you than it does about me. The audience was completely silent now. Several people had their phones out, recording everything. Get your phones away, a producer yelled from offstage. This is not being filmed. But everyone knew it was too late. Someone was definitely filming. Sunny pointed at Denzel. You don't get to come on this show and lecture me about journalism. I've been doing this for years. I know what I'm doing. If this is what you've been doing for years, Denzel said, then I feel sorry for every guest who's had to sit in that chair. Whoopi stood up and walked over to Denzel. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry this happened. This is not who we are. This is not what this show is about. I know, Whoopi, Denzel said gently. You've always been nothing but kind to me. This isn't on you. Yes, it is on her, Sunny yelled. She's the moderator. She could have controlled this conversation, but she chose to let you disrespect me instead. I disrespected you? Denzel turned back, his voice rising for the first time. Are you serious right now? You have been attacking me from the moment I sat down. You questioned my relevance, my career, my choices, my legacy. You called me selfish. You told me I should step aside. You compared me unfavorably to younger actors. You dismissed decades of work, and now you have the audacity to say that I disrespected you? Yes, Sunny said, not backing down, because you couldn't handle the truth. The truth? Denzel's voice boomed now. You want truth? Here's the truth. I have spent 40 years in this industry. I have worked with the best directors, the best actors, the best writers in the world. I have won awards. I have broken barriers. I have opened doors for people who look like me. I have earned my place. And I don't need to justify that to you or anyone else. That's the truth. My body of work is the truth. And if you can't see that, if you can't respect that, then that's your limitation, not mine. The studio erupted in applause. The audience was on their feet. Sunny's face turned red. Oh, so now you're playing to the crowd? Really? I'm not playing to anyone, Denzel said. I'm stating facts. And the fact is, I came here today with nothing but good intentions. I wanted to talk about my film. I wanted to engage with your audience. I wanted to have a meaningful conversation. But you made that impossible. You chose confrontation over conversation. You chose ego over empathy. And that's why I'm leaving. Then leave, Sunny screamed. Nobody's stopping you. The door is right there. Sunny, enough, Whoopi said, her voice like thunder. This needs to stop right now. No, Whoopi, Sunny said, spinning to face her. You don't get to tell me when to stop. I'm a co-host of this show just like you. I have just as much right to speak as anyone else at this table. Having the right to speak doesn't mean you should say whatever comes to mind, Alyssa said, especially when it's hurtful. I'm not trying to be hurtful, Sunny said, though her tone suggested otherwise. I'm trying to be real, but apparently nobody wants real anymore. Everyone just wants to blow smoke and pretend everything is perfect. There's a difference between being real and being mean, Joy said, and today, Sunny, you were mean. Sunny looked around the table. All of her co-hosts were staring at her with disappointment. The audience was still standing, still applauding for Denzel. Fine, Sunny said, throwing her hands up. If that's how everyone feels, then fine. But don't come crying to me when this show becomes just another puff piece platform where nobody asks the hard questions. Hard questions are welcome here, Whoopi said. But what you did today wasn't hard questioning. It was an attack, and it was uncalled for. Denzel had his hand on the stage door. I'm going to go now. Thank you to everyone who came to see me today. I'm sorry this turned into what it turned into. That wasn't my intention. Wait, Sarah called. Out. Denzel, please, can we at least end this on a better note? Can we at least try? Denzel looked at Sarah, then at Whoopi, then at Joy and Alyssa. Finally, his eyes landed on Sunny. I'm willing to try if she's willing to apologize, Denzel said. Everyone turned to look at Sunny. She stood there, arms crossed, jaw set. The silence stretched on for what felt like forever. No. Sunny finally said, I'm not apologizing for doing my job. Then we have nothing more to talk about, Denzel said. You're really going to walk out? Sunny challenged. You're really going to be that petty? Petty? Denzel repeated, incredulous. You spend 20 minutes attacking me, and I'm the one being petty for leaving? You're being petty for not being able to take criticism? Sunny insisted. I can take criticism, Denzel said. What I can't take is disrespect. And what you showed me today was profound disrespect. Not just to me, but to yourself, to your colleagues, to your audience. You let your need to be right override basic human decency. And that's something I can't be a part of. A producer appeared from backstage. Mr. Washington, your car is ready whenever you are. Thank you, Denzel said. He looked at Whoopi one more time. I'm sorry, Whoopi. I know this puts you in a difficult position. Don't apologize, Whoopi said. You have nothing to apologize for. This is on us. This is on me for not shutting it down sooner. It's not your fault, Denzel said. But I do need to go. I understand, Whoopi said. As Denzel walked toward the exit, Sunny called out one more time. You know what, Denzel? Maybe this is for the best. Maybe now people will see you for what you really are, someone who can dish it out but can't take it. Denzel stopped but didn't turn around. His shoulders tensed. For a moment, it looked like he might come back, but then he took a deep breath and kept walking. That's right, Sunny continued, her voice following him. Walk away. That's what you're good at, walking away when things get tough. Sunny, stop it, Joy practically begged. Just stop. But Sunny was on a roll now. No, let him go. Let him run back to his bubble where everyone tells him how amazing he is. Let him pretend that criticism doesn't exist. See if I care. Denzel reached the door. He put his hand on the handle. Then he paused. The entire studio held its breath. Slowly, Denzel turned around one final time. He walked back to the table, not stopping until he was standing directly in front of Sunny. You want to know why I'm leaving? He said, his voice low and controlled. It's not because I can't take criticism. It's not because I'm living in a bubble. It's because I recognize toxicity when I see it. And right now, you're being toxic. To me, to your colleagues, to yourself. And I refuse to participate in that. Sunny stared up at him, her face flushed. You think you're better than me? No, Denzel said. I think I'm different from you. And right now, I'm grateful for that difference. He turned and walked away for the final time. The door closed behind him with a soft click that somehow sounded loud in the silent studio. For a long moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Then Whoopi cleared her throat. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll figure something out. She looked directly at Sunny. And you and I are going to have a conversation. I don't need a conversation, Sunny said. I did nothing wrong. We'll see about that, Whoopi said. The cameras cut away. The audience sat in stunned silence. The other hosts gathered together, whispering urgently. Sunny sat alone at the table, her arms still crossed, her expression defiant. But if you look closely, you could see her hands shaking just slightly. Backstage, Denzel was already in his car. His publicist was on the phone, doing damage control. His manager was pacing back and forth. Are you okay? His publicist asked, covering the phone with her hand. Denzel looked out the window at the studio building. Yeah, he said quietly. I'm okay. I just wish it hadn't gone that way. You handled it with class, his manager said. More class than she deserved. Maybe, Denzel said. But it still shouldn't have happened. There was no reason for any of that. Back in the studio, the producers were in a frenzy. Some wanted to continue the show. Others wanted to cancel the rest of the taping. Everyone was talking at once. Whoopi stood in the middle of it all, her face grave. She had been hosting the show for years. She had seen difficult interviews. She had seen heated debates, but she had never seen anything like this. Joy approached her. What do we do? I don't know yet, Whoopi admitted. But something has to be done. This can't just be swept under the rug. Meanwhile, Sunny remained at the table, scrolling through her phone. Already, clips of the confrontation were starting to appear online. The comments were pouring in, and they weren't kind. Sarah sat down next to her. Sunny, are you okay? I'm fine, Sunny said without looking up. You don't seem fine, Sarah said gently. Well, I am, Sunny insisted. Everyone's overreacting. It was just a tough interview. It was more than that, Sarah said. You know it was more than that. I don't want to talk about it, Sunny said, standing up abruptly. I need some air. She walked off the set, leaving Sarah sitting alone. Alyssa joined Sarah a moment later. Think she'll apologize? I don't know, Sarah said. I hope so, but I don't think so. This is bad, Alyssa said. This is really bad. I know, Sarah agreed. The studio was still in chaos. The audience was being asked to stay in their seats. Some people were crying, others were angry. Everyone was talking about what they had just witnessed. In the green room, past guests were watching monitors, their mouths open in shock. Nobody could believe what they had just seen. Outside, news vans were already starting to arrive. Word had spread fast. This wasn't just a bad interview anymore. This was a full-blown incident. Back in his car, Denzel's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Text messages from friends and colleagues, calls from reporters, emails from supporters. Everyone wanted to know what happened. Everyone wanted his side of the story. But Denzel didn't respond to any of it. He just sat there, looking out the window, replaying the conversation in his mind. He thought about Sunny's questions, her tone, her accusations, and he thought about his responses. Had he handled it right? Could he have done something differently? But no matter how many times he replayed it, he came to the same conclusion. He had done the right thing by leaving. He had stood up for himself with dignity. He had set a boundary. And he had walked away before things got even worse. Inside the studio, Whoopi called everyone together, the hosts, the producers, the crew. She stood in the middle of the group and took a deep breath. "Okay," she said, "here's what we're going to do.